Okay, welcome back to another episode of Third and 23. I'm your host, Alex, here to bring you my Week 17 picks and predictions. I'm going to kick it off with a Christmas Day game. Merry Christmas, everybody out there watching this. And first, let's talk about how I've been doing, man. I'm struggling. I'll be honest. Maybe you want to do the opposite of what I'm doing. I went 1-3 last week. 4 straight weeks now where I have not done better than 50%. I got two 50% weeks in there, but have not done better than 50%. Last week, I mean, how am I going to know Jalen Hurts is getting knocked out the game 5 minutes into the game? Cardinals, James Conner goes out in the first half as well. But injuries, they'll get you. But it is what it is. We press on. Cold spells happen. You got to keep it pushing. So we're going to start it off with there's two Christmas Day games, but I'm only going to do one game for you. It's Ravens at the Texans. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites. Now, when I look at this game, first let's talk about the Houston Texans offensively. Actually, before we get into that, let's talk about motivation behind both of these teams. The Houston Texans have already clinched the AFC South. The AFC South was a pretty weak division this year. Texans have already clinched. So, in terms of what do they have to play for, there's a question of motivation there. Baltimore is tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers atop the AFC North. Ravens have already clinched the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure they would want a home playoff game by winning the division. So they got to win out. And they need Pittsburgh to lose a game, too. So, anyways, going into this game, when we look at this, let's talk about Houston Texans. And you can take motivation factor out of it. Let's say the Texans are motivated in this game. CJ Stroud in that passing game has struggled this season. At least it's struggled in the sense that they haven't been what you thought they would be this year. You thought CJ Stroud would have built off a great freshman year. He's having a sophomore slump this season. The passing game has not been able to get on track. Then you throw into the fact they lost Stephon Diggs earlier this season. Tank Dell with a gruesome injury last week. So they had to pick up Deontay Johnson, and I guess they're playing Deontay Johnson this week to pair with Nico Collins. But I just don't like that passing game and how they performed this season. And now without Tank Dell and obviously no Stephon Diggs, I think they're going to be worse. You're going against the Baltimore Ravens secondary that earlier this season, these guys were getting barbecued. Dead last in the league. They've been moving themselves up the stat board if you're looking at the team passing stats, team defensive passing stats. But in the last 3 games, they've allowed 5.9 yards per attempt. Now, I know you got Tim Boyle mixed in there with the New York Giants, but still, that's pretty impressive and much better than what they've been doing earlier this season. So when I look at this Houston Texans, oh, yeah, and then throw into the fact that the Ravens are second in the league in sacks this season, 47 sacks on the year, and you're going against the worst pass protecting offensive line in the league, which could probably add to the fact why CJ Stroud has been struggling this season. So now when I look at this game, I'm looking at CJ Stroud with limited pass catching options behind a bad offensive line going against a fierce pass rush. You're looking at a lot of dink and dunk, dink and dunk. I don't think you're going to see a lot of Houston Texans big plays down the field in this one. And that's what they're going to have to do to be able to contend with the Baltimore Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson, MVP candidate, with Derrick Henry, a chance to win the rushing championship or whatever you want to call it, with whoever becomes the top rusher. Obviously, it's going to be Saquon, but Derrick Henry still got a shot. You got that. You got Zay Flowers. You got pass catching options on the outside for Baltimore. So Baltimore's offense is going to score in this game. One of the best offenses in the NFL. Houston keep pace with a lot of dink and dunk. I just don't see that happening. And then when you get into the red zone, Baltimore, first number one team in the red zone this year, 72% touchdown conversion rate. The Texans defense allows 64% red zone conversion rates, 27th in the league. So Houston Texans defense has actually played as well, relatively well this season, but when they get to the red zone, teams are scoring. So you got a Baltimore Ravens offense with explosive options. When they get to the red zone, likely to get touchdowns against a Houston Texans offense that really can't get it going passing, really have not been able to get it going passing the ball this season. Got Joe Mixon in the backfield, sure, but they're going against the Baltimore Ravens, number one run defense in the league. So I don't think he's going to really get off in this game. So I really don't see any way that Houston's going to be able to keep pace with Baltimore's offense. I don't really see any way Houston's offense is really be able to get untracked in this game. So for that reason, and again, I've been struggling. I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm going to lay the 5.5 on the road. All the motivation I think is on Baltimore's side. All the talent is on Baltimore's side, and I think Houston is kind of fading their way into the playoffs. So anyway, that wraps this video up. If you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that. As you're going to see my YouTube handle here in a few seconds.